Give them a shot to do what?
Game 2. We are back. We are better. We are in there like swimwear. The Chicago Cubs play baseball today. Had a weird off day yesterday, is what it is. Ain't mad about it. Got a day to just rest, figure out some things, watch an absolute brawl, quote unquote, is what everyone's calling it, but not a single punch was thrown between Rhys Hoskins and the New York Mets. I know Michael Powers was shaken because he has so much love for both parties. But man, appreciate you guys tuning in to episode 3 or 4. Forget exactly what number we're on right now of the Shy Kid podcast, brought to you by the Give Us a Shot Network. So give us a shot. Make sure you hit that like. Make sure you hit that follow button. Let everybody know where they can find us. I mean, it's going to be an absolute blast to just sit here throughout an entire season and break down Chicago Cubs baseball, WNBA, Chicago Sky, everything around the sun. We will be talking about it. So make sure you give us a like and subscribe. Share this out to other people who you know and love, who love Chicago Cubs sports. And if you don't care about the Chicago Cubs and you want to see so many different sports with so many different analysts, it's the Give Us a Shot Network. This isn't the Shy Kid Network. So you can see so many amazing people chopping it up. Germ, Corey, Bert, Michael Powers, and so many others talking about football, hockey, basketball, WNBA with the Protect Our Queens, and so many others. But before we get into today's episode, I want to give a congratulatory shout out to my dog, to my rider, to my guy who's been on the pod before. We're going to have him after he makes his debut. We've already talked about it. Ben Brown is making his major league debut. Just got called up, filling in for Justin Steele, who's going on the IL for the Chicago Cubs. He is now a major league ball player. So shout out to him, baby. Shout out to my boy, 6'6", 210, 24 years old. I mean, an absolute monster of a pitcher, right-handed pitcher, absolute stud. Obviously acquiring him August 2nd, 2022 in the Dave Robertson trade with the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies were high on him. They drafted him in 2017. You know, it's crazy to sit here today and say that, you know, the amount of work that this kid's put in is undeserved. You know, it's absolute asinine. This kid has worked his butt off, and he's been very vocal about it. You know, he came straight into the Cubs organization asking questions. Very important for him to get to know everybody, to learn everybody's name. He's watching guys in the Tennessee Smokies organization at the time, like DJ Hurst, Bailey Horn, obviously Jordan Wicks, and so many others just throw amazing stuff. Ryan Jensen, you know, and now for him to be at this point, you know, after we were in Iowa together, Des Moines, Iowa, like 6-7 months ago, you know, and now we're here, and it's going to be an absolute blast to see him hopefully make his debut at Wrigley Field. Unless they have him coming out of the bullpen, not quite sure what the plan is there. I'm presuming he is going to fill the spot of Justin Steele, because you could do it with Drew Smiley because he's already in the pen. But after that 10th inning the other night, I'd rather not. Give Ben the chance to do it. I'm excited about it, man. So again, once again, congratulations to Ben Brown. Super excited. I'm sure he's already on his way to Texas right now. Or maybe they'll just send him straight to Wrigley because this is only a 3-game series and this is game 2. So I'm excited, man. It's going to be a blast. Hopefully we'll have him on the pod soon to chop it up, talk about his Wrigley Field experience. I know he's been dying and itching to get that. But again, we're talking about a guy who 6'6", 210 pounds, 24 years old, an absolute monster and a cornerstone of this future Chicago Cubs rotation of Cade Horton, Justin Steele, Jordan Wicks, Shota Imanaga, and hopefully Ben Brown. And I think when we have those real conversations, you have to break down the prospect side of it. We look at it for what it is and understand that in 2023, he didn't have the greatest year, and he had a lot of injuries and there were just things that just weren't going his way. I was one of the believers that said if he didn't go down, I believed that he was going to be called up instead of Jordan Wicks. I truly did feel that way, or maybe both of them. You know what I mean? So, it's unfortunate that he didn't get to finish the year healthy last year, but I'm super excited to see what he's going to be able to bring at the big league level. And it's just an absolute blast to see him get this piece. In South Bend last year, he had a 0.45 ERA with 2 wins, obviously, in a small sample size. He only played 4 games. And then with the AAA Iowa Cubs, he went 6-8 win-loss record with a 5.33 ERA in 22 games. But that didn't speak as many volumes to what was going on throughout that season. There were a lot of injuries that went down for the Iowa Cubs last year, and Ben Brown was one of them. So, I don't take too much into consideration. He had a very strong spring for the Chicago Cubs. He had 4 scoreless innings in one of his first starts. So it's going to be a blast to see what he's going to be able to do. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. Somebody said, Chi-Town, happy birthday, brother. I see you in the comments. Happy birthday. I hope you have a blessed one. But with that being said, man, let's get into it. Today's lineup for the Chicago Cubs. Oh my goodness gracious. Ian Happ is batting 6th, and Nico Hoerner is leading off.
Hallelujah! Holy shit!
I don't know how long we've been asking for this, but Cubs fans everywhere have been asking for this forever. I'm so excited. I'm so pumped to see Nico Hoerner leading off. I truly believe he is the future leadoff of the Chicago Cubs. I've felt that way for years. Obviously, Ian, 14 stolen bases last year, 21 home runs, 84 RBIs. I feel like I've said that every episode this far. He's no scrub. You know what I mean? A multiple-time Gold Glover in left field, back-to-back years, if I'm not mistaken. You love what Ian and others can bring to the table, but at the end of the day, it's really hard to be a leadoff in this league. So I'm super pumped to see Nico be up to that task and Craig to give him that opportunity. Now, I think matchups are going to play a big part of it throughout the year of who's leading off and who's not. But it's going to be a lot of fun, man. I'm just pumped about it. It's going to be a blast. So, let's get into it. Let's get into the starting lineup today for your Chicago Cubs. Obviously, leading off is Nico Hoerner at second base, followed by Seiya Suzuki in right field, batting second. Cody Bellinger will be batting third in center field. Christopher Morel, oh my goodness, Christopher Morel is at third base.
Hallelujah! Holy shit!
I don't know how many times we have to ask for that this year, but he's making his first start of the year at third base, presumably going to be the everyday third baseman going into the season. That's what we all expected after spring training and going into this offseason. But it's exciting to see him at the cleanup spot. He almost had a grand slam the other night, and I still have him as my first Cubs home run of 2024. So make sure you take that to the bank. It hasn't happened yet. Maybe game 2 will be the game. So Christopher Morel is your cleanup at third base. Dansby Swanson's batting 5th at shortstop. Ian Happ is batting 6th in left field. Garrett Cooper will be making his first start in a Cubs uniform. He will be DHing, batting 7th. Yan Gomes is at the plate as catcher, batting 8th. And Michael Busch back at it after an amazing performance, 1 hit, 2 walks, and a phenomenal steal of home after a missed call late in the game at first base. Going to be a lot of fun to see him batting 9th. But with that being said, man, Kyle Hendricks is on the mound. The professor is dealing and class is in session. And, there's a lot of different ways we can look at Kyle Hendricks in his last couple years. The big one for me was looking at last year. Last year he almost has a no-hitter, in 2 games. One was against the San Francisco Giants and the other one, if somebody in the comments can remind me, who the other team was that he almost no hit. But, Kyle Hendricks, after coming back from injury and a small stint with the Iowa Cubs last year, earlier in the year, April, May, he definitely came back and, he had a lot to prove and he got another year on his contract. I'm excited to see what's going to potentially be in store for Kyle Hendricks, the professor, in this year. It's likely the last dance. It is likely the last dance with Kyle Hendricks, and I think most Cubs fans understand that. It's one of the last remaining guys of the 2016 Chicago Cubs. If I'm not mistaken, he is the last remaining guy from the 2016 Chicago Cubs. The closest one after that would be Ian Happ, who was here in 2017. But now that Rossi's gone, Wilson, Jason, they were the last guys standing. If I'm not mistaken, it's just Kyle left. So it's going to be the end of an era soon. It's unfortunate, but time moves on. It's a new era of Chicago Cubs baseball, and I'm here for it. I'm excited. We got Owen Casey, Alexander Canario, and P. Crow Armstrong absolutely dominating last night in AAA Iowa. PCA with a triple in the 5th inning, which was a lot of fun. So the prospects are here, and I'm excited to see it. But Kyle Hendricks right now is still given that opportunity to be a huge part of this rotation, while other guys like Ben Brown and Cade Horton continue to develop. But now guys like Ben and Jordan Wicks are here. So you know what I mean? Like, we're very quickly running out of room. Jameson Tyone will be coming back at some point. He's on a longer deal. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. For the Texas Rangers, we have Marcus Semien leading off, followed by Corey Seager, Carter. Adolis Garcia will be your cleanup. Jung, obviously batting 5th. Wyatt Langford will be DHing again. Weish, Heim, and Tavares will be the following after that. So, it's a tricky lineup. It's a tricky lineup. I don't know how today is going to go. It can either be really good or really bad for Kyle Hendricks. So I'm not quite sure. There's a lot of different conversations going around right now about the availability of Kyle Hendricks, maybe come trade deadline. You know what I mean? Like, let's say, you're not going to re-sign Kyle Hendricks. You know that it's just you're mutually parting ways. Maybe Ben Brown's having success. Maybe Cade Horton's having success, and you want to bring them up at some point mid-June, July. So do you trade away Kyle Hendricks, give him an opportunity to be a legitimate contender, and then let the kids play? Because you're going to have to bring up Jameson Tyone. If Ben Brown has success, you don't want to lose him. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. And somebody asked, what happened to Justin Steele? So as of right now, as I understand, Justin Steele, the man of steel himself, the Mississippi fastball. Let me not disrespect his name by mispronouncing it, but he has a hamstring pull. He leaves in the 5th inning. He pitched 4.2 innings and had 6 Ks on the day. He was absolutely dealing, knocked down 7 straight. So it was a huge loss, devastating loss, hamstring tightness. He leaves the game. He had an MRI yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. He's going on the IL. This doesn't seem like a huge IL stint. It's not going to be a 60-day, but we understand how hamstrings work. He's likely going to come back mid-April. But we also understand the hamstrings are a tricky MFer. So, I've had hamstring injuries myself where like you feel that for the next 6 months. And it doesn't limit you from not being able to perform, but you feel it. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where he's just going to have to really rehab this. Don't rush it, because you are the ace of the Chicago Cubs. And despite so many people's lists of top 20 pitchers in the league, I believe he is a top 10 pitcher in this league. Like, period. So I don't know. I'm excited nonetheless. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to really break down, what this team could potentially do and the way they could step up in his absence. Guys like Drew Smyly, you better step up, bro. Like, it's just really what it comes down to. Today, we are somewhat limited, I guess you could say. Jose Cuas and Luke Little are the only guys who didn't pitch against the Rangers in game 1. Everybody else, from Aber Alzolay to Hector Neris and Yency Almonte and Drew Smyly, all, played a good part. Julian Merriweather. So yeah, we got Luke Little likely today. I wouldn't assume Ben Brown, but you never know. He might be there today. He might come out of the pen today. I have no idea. I don't know how they really want to use him. I imagine he's one of your 5th starters next to Shota, Kyle, Jordan, and Javier. But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun nonetheless. So I'm hyped about it. I hope you guys are too. But that's really what we got for you guys tonight. This is our pregame show. We'll be going live tomorrow afternoon, breaking down the recap of game 2 of the Chicago Cubs and the Texas Rangers. So make sure you stay in tune for that. Make sure you check out a full episode of Give Us a Shot, the Shy Kid podcast, or every other episode on the Give Us a Shot network. You could always check out, like I said, Michael Powers, Germ, Bert, Corey, so many other amazing faces on this network. And it's March Madness, baby. If you want to keep up to date with everything women's basketball, check out the Protect Our Queens podcast on the Give Us a Shot network. They do amazing things. I don't speak highly about every single women's basketball podcast. You could tell some people who just, and certain networks who just do it to, as my guy Ice Cube would say, when we interviewed him last year, he said some people are just, checking off a box. That's not what they do. They are absolutely phenomenal. They understand the game. They break it down. They've had my guy Chaz Franklin on there and so many other intelligent basketball minds. So definitely check them out. Give them a like. Give them a subscribe. Give us a shot, and check out the Give Us a Shot network. So with that being said, appreciate you guys for always tuning in. Appreciate you guys for always being here. I am Mike Hughes, a.k.a. The Shy Kid. Go Cubs, baby.
I love you.